Imagine Messi winning the World Cup again. Winning it once already puts you in a category that most legends never reach. The World Cup isn't just another trophy. It's football's most unforgiving month. Razor-thin margins, non-stop pressure, and opponents who have spent years preparing for that exact stage. You only get a chance every 4 years, which turns every tournament into a once-in-a-career gamble. That's why winning it twice, especially back-to-back, sits in the realm of the nearly impossible. Historically, only a couple of nations have pulled off consecutive titles: Italy in 1934 and 1938, and Brazil in 1958 and 1962. And that last repeat happened more than 60 years ago. Modern football isn't designed for dynasties. It's built to interrupt them. The 4-year gap is the first enemy. In club football, you can reset every summer, change managers, refresh the squad, rebuild the system. International football doesn't let you do that. You're tied to the same player pool, you get limited time together, and by the time the next World Cup arrives, the same stars who carried you before are older, more fatigued, more injury-prone, or simply not at the same physical peak. Then comes the second enemy. Once you win, you lose the element of surprise. Everything you did gets studied and dissected. Your pressing triggers, your build-up patterns, your set pieces, your substitutions, every detail becomes film for opponents. What used to catch teams off guard becomes predictable. Recent history is full of cautionary tales. Spain won in 2010 and crashed out in the group stage in 2014. Germany lifted the trophy in 2014 and went out in the group stage in 2018. France came agonizingly close in 2022, even with a deep elite squad, but couldn't finish the job. And the modern game is harsher than it used to be. It's faster, more organized, and far more physical. Players are squeezed by packed calendars. Many top stars play 60 matches a year, with minimal recovery windows. Injuries accumulate, mental fatigue builds, and form becomes fragile. Add to that the expansion of the World Cup itself. More teams, more matches, more total load across the football ecosystem. In tournaments where a single bad half can end everything, extra wear matters. That's why the idea of Messi, already a World Cup winner, helping Argentina do it again feels almost unreal. Because how do you top 2022? What he did in Qatar wasn't merely winning, it was rewriting the emotional script of his entire international career. By 2022, Messi carried a weight that most athletes never experience. Yes, the Copa America victory in 2021 had eased the pressure slightly. Argentina had finally ended a long trophy drought, and Messi had finally lifted a major title with the senior national team. But the World Cup was different. That was the conversation that followed him everywhere. Messi versus Maradona, the 2014 final loss, the heartbreaks in Copa finals. The idea that he couldn't complete his story for Argentina. Qatar wasn't just a tournament, it was the ultimate referendum. And the tournament began with disaster. Argentina lost 2-1 to Saudi Arabia in one of the biggest upsets in World Cup history, ending their long, unbeaten run. For many teams, that kind of opening punch creates panic. For Argentina, it created clarity. Messi publicly asked the fans to keep faith. Inside the group, there was no collapse, just a collective decision to respond. From that moment, Messi produced one of the greatest World Cup campaigns ever. His goal against Mexico became a turning point not only for the group stage, but for the entire tournament. Argentina were suffocating under pressure, and he changed the match with a strike that felt like oxygen. Against Australia in the round of 16, he scored again, another landmark moment, another "I'm here" stamp, while Argentina advanced 2-1. Against the Netherlands, he delivered a no-look assist that looked like a cheat code, scored a penalty, and then converted in the shootout when the match exploded into chaos. Argentina survived. Then came Croatia in the semi-final. Messi scored from the spot again, but more importantly, he produced one of the images of the tournament, humiliating a top defender with a dribble that combined strength, timing, and pure control. Argentina were in the final, and the final against France became a football epic. Argentina flew to a 2-0 lead, Messi opening from the penalty spot, then a team goal finished by Di Maria that looked like choreography. For a while, it seemed done. Then it turned into madness. Mbappe scored twice in 2 minutes, the match went to extra time. Messi scored again to make it 3-2, and Mbappe completed his hat trick to tie it 3-3. The World Cup was decided by penalties. Messi scored calmly. Emi Martinez became the villain hero once again. Argentina won. Messi finally lifted the trophy that had hovered over his entire career like a shadow. The numbers from that campaign were outrageous. 7 goals, 3 assists, 5 Man of the Match awards, and the Golden Ball as the tournament's best player, making him the first to win it twice. And while some detractors tried to reduce his run to just penalties, the reality was clear to anyone watching. He shaped matches with goals, creation, tempo control, and leadership. Once he held that trophy, the pressure evaporated instantly. The endless arguments quieted. The debates lost their teeth. He wasn't chasing approval anymore. Which raises the next question. If the legacy conversation is settled, why keep going? The text suggests a simple answer: love of the game, love of competing, and faith in the team around him. Because this Argentina is no longer a one-man operation. For the first time in a long time, Argentina can look like a complete national team even without Messi at his absolute peak. That evolution is inseparable from Lionel Scaloni. Messi deserves enormous credit. He is, in this narrative, the greatest of all time. But Scaloni's role is framed as equally critical. The manager who built the structure that finally allowed Argentina's talent to become a stable winning machine. Argentina's history makes that point easy to understand. Talent was never the problem. The country has produced elite attackers for generations. But in many eras, the team lacked balance, identity, and high-level management. The 2010 World Cup squad, for example, included major names: Higuaín, Tevez, a young Di Maria, and a pool of strong professionals. But the team collapsed brutally when it met a truly organized opponent, losing 4-0 in the quarterfinals. The implication is clear. Individual quality can carry you to a point, but structure wins tournaments. The managerial carousel that followed reinforced this. Sergio Batista's Copa America run in 2011 was underwhelming, including uninspiring results and an early exit. Alejandro Sabella was a step up, more solid defensively, more coherent, and he guided Argentina to the 2014 World Cup final. But later cycles under other coaches showed how quickly a team can fall back into chaos, even with Messi in the squad. The core lesson: having Messi doesn't guarantee trophies. It gives you a chance. To finish the job, you need the right teammates, the right roles, and the right coach. That's where Scaloni enters. He arrived when Argentina were lost, after another disappointing World Cup campaign and the end of the Jorge Sampaoli era. Many in Argentine sports media mocked the appointment because Scaloni lacked big-name credentials as a senior head coach. But the mockery didn't matter. His ideas worked. Scaloni's approach is described as pragmatic and modern, a 4-4-2 base that prioritizes athleticism, work rate, and tactical discipline around Messi. The concept is simple. Put relentless runners and intelligent midfielders behind him so he can conserve energy defensively and decide matches offensively. Messi still presses at times, but it's easier when you have a machine like Rodrigo de Paul covering ground, when you have midfielders who close passing lanes, when you have fullbacks who compete like their lives depend on it. Under Scaloni, Argentina became hard to break down and mentally unshakable. That mentality shift may have begun in the 2021 Copa America final, particularly because it was against Brazil in Brazil at the Maracanã. Argentina hadn't won a major trophy in 28 years. The pressure was enormous. The demons were real. Winning that final wasn't just another title, it was the spark that ignited everything that came next. It also served as proof that Messi didn't have to do everything alone. Di Maria scored the decisive goal, a moment framed as symbolic, because for once the team carried Messi when he wasn't at his best in a final. The narrative treats that as a turning point. Argentina stopped being a nation of almost and became a nation of finishers. Then Qatar 2022 showed Scaloni's adaptability in real time. After the Saudi Arabia loss, he adjusted decisively, bringing Enzo Fernandez into the starting lineup, shifting roles to maximize balance and turning the midfield into a functional unit. De Paul became the engine, pressing, dueling, covering. Enzo offered control from deep, dictating tempo, progressing the ball, contributing goals when needed. Alexis McAllister's positioning helped connect midfield and attack. Up front, Julian Alvarez became the perfect partner for Messi, a forward who never stops running, finds spaces intelligently, and finishes when opportunities come. Argentina didn't just survive the tournament, they evolved through it, and crucially, the story doesn't end in 2022. Argentina then won the 2024 Copa America, which in this text is treated as proof of sustainability, a glimpse into the future beyond. Messi. The idea is that Scaloni's system is robust enough to function even when Messi is not at his peak, or even when he's not on the pitch. The team can press harder without having to account for Messi's selective defensive effort. They can dominate possession, but also turn direct quickly because the forward line is built for runs in behind. They don't rely on a single plan. They're tactically fluid. The squad profile reinforces that claim. In goal, Emiliano Dibu Martinez is framed as a psychological weapon as much as a shot stopper. Fearless, confident, built for shootouts and high-pressure moments. In defense, Christian Romero is described as a warrior center-back. Physical, fast, aggressive, comfortable on the ball. Lisandro Martinez is painted as tough and elite when placed in a stable environment, providing bite despite not being the tallest defender. The fullbacks, Tagliafico and Molina, add work rate and intelligence, willing to overlap, defend, and do unglamorous jobs. In midfield, the tone becomes almost reverent. De Paul isn't just Messi's bodyguard, as critics might claim. He's a complete midfielder who presses, defends, creates, and bleeds for the shirt. McAllister offers creativity with bite, able to pop up with a goal, but also win tackles. Enzo is described as a top box-to-box presence whose chance creation sometimes gets wasted at club level, but shines with the national team. Up front, Lautaro Martinez is framed as a striker who has matured, from someone who sometimes missed in crucial moments to a killer, especially highlighted by his impact and scoring in the 2024 Copa America. And Julian Alvarez, the Spider, is portrayed as chaos personified. Non-stop running, elite pressing, flexibility to play central or wide, able to create for himself rather than depend entirely on service. All of this leads to the central, almost provocative conclusion. This Argentina is entering a new era. The team is stacked, mentally ruthless, tactically organized, and no longer built around a single savior. Messi is still there, still capable of magic, but the structure and the talent around him mean Argentina can win in different ways now. They can grind. They can dominate, they can counter, they can survive ugly games and still believe. So what would it mean if Messi won the World Cup again? It would mean doing what modern football tries to prevent, repeating the impossible. It would mean surviving the physical demands of an era where players are overloaded, injuries are constant, and opponents have years of film to prepare. It would mean outlasting the inevitable aging curve and still delivering at the sport's harshest summit. But the reason the idea doesn't sound like pure fantasy, at least in this narrative, is that Messi isn't alone anymore. He isn't dragging a fragile national team toward destiny. He's leading a machine that Scaloni built, a machine full of runners, duel winners, tactically smart midfielders, hardened defenders, and forwards who press like demons and finish like professionals. In 2022, Messi climbed the mountain that had haunted him. If he were to climb it again, it wouldn't just be another trophy. It would be the ultimate defiance of the modern game's logic, a reminder that sometimes when the talent is historic, the manager is elite, and the team culture is unbreakable, football still allows miracles. And maybe that's the real point. Not that it's likely, but that with this Argentina, organized, hungry, and built to last, it's no longer unthinkable.